correspondent Mary Bruce. She's there in North Carolina where both rallies took place. Mary, you actually just spoke with the vice president.
We asked her exactly about this issue as Donald Trump is seizing on these comments. Republicans, too, they are pouncing on this. And it is raising some questions about whether the president's comments are stepping on Kamala Harris's message. And she did try to put some distance between herself and her campaign and the president that she serves, saying that she doesn't believe anyone should be criticized based on who they vote for. Take a listen.
I want to start with something that Donald Trump is seizing on today. Trump says that while you were making your closing pitch for unity last night, President Biden was calling his supporters garbage. What did you think when you heard President Biden make those comments?
Well, first of all, I think that the president has explained what he meant. But I've said it earlier. I strongly disagree with any criticism of people based on who they vote for. And that I've made that clear throughout my career, including my speech last night before I think this all happened, which is I intend to be president for all Americans, and including those who may not vote for me in this election. I take very seriously my obligation and my oath to concern myself first with the needs of the American people and put them before whatever might be my selfish issues.
So you hear the vice president there. She is trying to make clear that while the president has come out and said that, he was really just referring to the comedian who made those comments, those bigoted comments, those rude, lewd comments at the Trump rally over the weekend, that she, believes that she is still fighting to be the president for all Americans. And so, yes, putting perhaps a little bit of space between her and the president, even though he has come out and tried to do some swift cleanup as well, Kira.
All right. Well, last night, the vice president delivered this speech, not just for her supporters, but all Americans. She made that point. How crucial was that speech for her campaign, even though the president kind of stole her thunder?
Look, it was a huge moment, and it was quite a scene. I mean, Kamala Harris there speaking outside of the White House to 75,000 people. That's the estimate from her campaign, and this was her chance to deliver her closing argument. Of course, the site was no accident. She was speaking at the exact same spot where Donald Trump spoke to his supporters before they marched to the Capitol on January 6th. But last night's speech was about more than just the threat to democracy that she argues Donald Trump poses. She really was trying to outline what is at stake in this race, to pit her vision for the future of the country, for the presidency, against Donald Trump's vision. We've heard her now repeating this line that she would come into the Oval Office with a to-do list, while Donald Trump would just come in with an enemies list, that he is seeking simply retribution and vengeance, and that he's out for himself, while she argues she is out for the American people. But Kira, she also made this big appeal for unity, saying it doesn't have to be this way, that the country doesn't have to be so divided. Our politics doesn't have to be so ugly, quite frankly. And she really is urging Americans to turn the page. That's a phrase you keep hearing her repeat over and over again. And she is making the argument that she is the one who can take the country forward. Whether or not it sticks, whether or not it resonated, 6 days to go, Kira.
I know, it's amazing. All right, I have to ask you, Mary, because, the vice president had been getting a lot of grief about not doing any interviews, and then she did make some choices to do some sit-down interviews. You were able to grab her at a rally. I don't think anybody else this close to Election Day has been able to do that. How did that unfold?
Look, she certainly has been doing more interviews like this in various forms, whether it's a formal sit-down or an informal conversation like we just had at the end of the rope line. I think they are eager, this campaign, to get her out there in front of voters as much as they can, because they are well aware that this race is coming down to that tiny sliver of voters who are still up for grabs in these critical states like this one. So she has really been trying to up the blitzing of the media, and we were able to have a chance to talk with her today. Thanks.
Mary Bruce, it's great. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. So glad you had access.